Hi and good morning, everyone. Welcome. We will have this conference in English, but also feel free to ask your question in Serbian. On behalf of the Internet Society Belgrade chapter and DESCON, I'd really like to welcome everyone to this 3 days of conference and 2 days of sustainable technology hackathon. I'll say a few words before I give the floor to our guest speaker about DESCON and why we do what we do today. So DESCON isn't a traditional conference. It really combines hands-on hackathon together with policymakers and with talks, policy dialogue. So we really try to get the community to talk to each other. And our philosophy is really about saying that every prototype, technical prototype, is about the political statement about the world they see. And I haven't introduced myself. My name is Desiree Miloshevic, and I'm an internet activist. And the reason why I do this is because I think that we need to defend this technology that is really having good sides and bad sides with all the things coming from all corners, including geopolitics. But we need to keep and defend the good part, that how it works and that lets us communicate in this globally secure, interoperable network, and to try avoid fragmentation of it. So what has DESCON done in the past? This is the 9th edition, and we started really small outside of the Hack Club. We started with an IoT and security conference, and then we grew into the sustainable connectivity, citizen science, and also climate tech. And one of the things that was born out of DESCON is Climerco. Some of you might know climerco.org website that citizens have installed a small device at home that makes measurement and provides information about air quality in Serbia, but also in other regions in Southeastern Europe. So we have really gone, each time we mirror a different type of theme. And last year was minimum data sets, low power devices, and this continuity actually gives credibility to our gathering each year, and the community grows. Another thing I'd like to say a few words just about the brief history I already talked to you about is really why do we have this theme today. And we have covered the right to repair, privacy, encryption, all these very important topics today. As you know, when the ministers of European digital ministers like France and Germany meet and to talk about digital sovereignty, which is a new policy topic, it really makes us think what is meant by this digital sovereignty that is on top of minds of these two most powerful European countries when they talk about a single market. And does that mean data localization? Does that mean the end of the global internet, or what will happen there? So we really need to follow and understand this policy concept as much as possible. But one thing is clear: the AI, or the machine learning, is changing everything, is making everything go faster, and it's affecting every part of our life. And why do we think this today we will talk about all aspects of AI is really because of those of us who are concerned with governance of the AI model, with its sustainability, and the human agency in these intelligent systems. Primarily, it is something that we will learn tonight, if you follow the film, the Serbian premiere about how to build the truth engine that we will premiere this evening. It is primarily how good people can act in bad faith. And we don't think it's a flaw with people as such, with religion or anything else. It's really, if you give good people bad information, they will make bad decisions. So this year, the title, AI is a Harsh Mistress, actually echoes the famous book of a science fiction writer, Robert Heinlein, The Moon is a Harsh Mistress, which is one of his positive books, if I may say that, because he's been also criticized as someone who is very much a right-hand political and science fiction thinker. But The Moon is a Harsh Mistress is a story about a rebellion of a computer that becomes sensible, becomes aware of himself, of society, and actually it takes sides with the people against the machines. So if you haven't read it or seen the movie, we really would like to use this analogy of AI system today, which they act as bosses, as unseen governors, and who are moderating speech, they're allocating resources and shaping perception. So the subtitle, The Trust and Power, also asks who designs these systems and who audits them, and how do we sustain trust and decisions that became opaque. From the DESCON community, I think this is not abstract. It's about code, energy use data ownership, and accountability. It's about centralization of power within a handful of few companies in the world that will allow us how to think. The program highlights, I will really just mention our keynote speaker here today from Plato's Cave to Algorithms, Ms. Marianthe Stavridou. She's also Vice President of the Internet Society Switzerland chapter. And then we will also have this film screening I mentioned. But I see that we are not following the one, yes. We're also seeing the film screening and the hackathon today, hackathon how to upgrade Climerco hardware and software, adding new sensors that we can serve. So this all is an integration of open source code into the works and our philosophy. And we will then maybe just say a few words that over the years we have moved from just hands-on hackathon to policy relevance. And for that, we really have become a space where this multi-stakeholder collaboration just happens in an informal way, a very relaxed atmosphere. And this is the place where the technical community, civil society, international experts, but also local experts meet, and the private sector, and they can cooperate on the outcomes. So in terms of the governance lens, I have also mentioned the filmmaker Friedrich Moser, who has made a movie about disinformation, and there will be a talk with the film director himself after the screening around 8:15 this evening, together with Gordana Andrić, the executive editor at BERN, the Balkan Investigative Research Network. So I do welcome you and invite you to stay for that. And I think we will talk about what new checks and balances can sustain this public trust. And is AI really sustainable materially, but also ethically? And maybe we will learn that from our presenters today. I leave that to them, and we'll probably get some insights from our speakers why it matters for policymakers, our discussions. So we're building a small hub here, and we would like you, because to all take an action, form your group, stay in touch, and stay with us. And so I invite you to follow the Belgrade event. If you are sending any social media, tag DESCON 9 so that we can find your posts afterwards. and we welcome your expertise and to reflect how we collectively can ensure that the AI can serve truth and sustainability and human dignity. With that, I would like to thank you all and invite our next speaker, Marianthe Stavridou, to take the floor. Thank you very much.
Dear friends, good morning. It's an honor to be with you today. So how can I use this to put, do you have my presentation? Okay, perfect. It's an honor to be with you today, innovators, thinkers, guardians of our digital future. Many thanks to Desiree Miloshevic, the Internet Society Serbia chapter, the organizing team, and the sponsors for inviting me in this wonderful venue. As Desiree said, my name is Marianthe Stavridou, and currently I serve as Vice Chair at the Internet Society Switzerland chapter. I also advocate for free and open source resources and the next generation Internet. Dear friends, we find ourselves at a unique moment in human history. A moment where ancient philosophical questions have become urgently practical. What world are we building, and who are we becoming through the tools we create? Oh, sorry. Let me take you back to Plato's cave. That timeless story of prisoners chained in darkness, watching shadows dance on a wall. The prisoners believed these flickering images were reality itself. But one prisoner escaped and discovered the world outside, vibrant and colorful. He returned with a transformative truth back, only to be rejected by those who preferred their familiar shadows. Today, we have built a new cave. Its walls are out of screens. Its fire burns with data, and the shadows that shape our reality are now cast by algorithms. These systems increasingly decide what we see, what we value, and what we believe. In the words of Noam Chomsky, that I suppose you all know, the smart way to keep people passive and obedient is to strictly limit the spectrum of acceptable opinion, but allow very lively debate within that spectrum. Even encourage the more critical and dissident views. That gives people the sense that there is free thinking going on, while all the time the presuppositions of the system are being reinforced by the limits put on the range of the debate. So our digital platforms are the ultimate engine for this phenomenon. They do not necessarily censor specific opinions outright. Instead, they masterfully define the very boundaries of our political and social imagination. The algorithmically cured spectrum becomes our new reality. Artificial intelligence has now become the master storyteller of our age, projecting not just information, but new realities and new hierarchies of power. To understand how we've got here, we must trace the evolution of power. For centuries, in medieval Europe, and I mean Western Europe, power was fundamentally derived from land ownership. Kings and queens, governing in God's name, were the owner of all land. They granted estates to their vassals, in a contractual exchange for loyalty, obedience, and military protection. So, exactly this system commodified the earth. It restricted peasants from accessing common lands, forcing them into waged labor and creating the basic class divide between the owners of the means of production and those who worked for them. The wealth of the owners was built directly on the surplus generated by the workers. The results are well described in Karl Marx's Capital. The accumulation of wealth at one pole is, therefore, at the same time accumulation of misery, agony of toil, slavery, ignorance, brutality, mental degradation at the opposite pole. This logic was brutally enforced. As states, cities, and villages took responsibility of the poor, they created poor houses and work farms designed to be so grim, so punishing, that they instilled a deep societal fear of poverty, what the philosopher Adela Cortina in the 90s called aporophobia. This fear, once enforced from above, now lives within us. It drives relentless competition and fuels the modern obsession with joining the privileged 1%, no matter the cost for the others. And with others, I mean society, people, environment. The transformation from feudalism to capitalism was a seismic shift of power from landowners to capital. Then, power shifted once again from production to consumption. As factories moved to countries with cheap, child, and forced labor, the post-industrial age elevated the individual consumer. Wealth could now buy not just goods, but also attention, influence, and even consciousness. We objectified and commodified pretty much everything, even people's lives. Today, a new transformation is underway. Classical capitalism is being subsumed. Power is no longer measured solely by ownership of the means of production, but by the control of data. Humans are no longer just producers or consumers. We have become the product itself. Our attention, our relationships, our very experiences have become the raw material, as Zsuzsanna Zuboff warns us, for a new economic order, the surveillance capitalism. This is the commodification of our behavior. At the heart of this new order sits, yes, the algorithm. A finite sequence of rigorous instructions, a recipe for solving problems. Here is where the philosophical meets the technical. This technical efficiency creates a dual challenge. First, an a priori challenge. How do we bake ethics into the code before deploying the code? And then, even a more difficult a posteriori challenge. Once the algorithm acts, can we understand why? When a neural network makes a decision, the reason often remains sealed inside a black box. This is not a theoretical risk, because we must remember a fundamental truth. Algorithms are not neutral. They are human inventions that carry the values and biases of their creators. The consequences are already here. Yes. We have seen algorithmic systems hallucinate facts and invent legal cases. We have watched algorithms bake our worst biases, like when Google Translate turned the gender-neutral Turkish phrase "o doktor, o hemşire" into "he is a doctor, but she is a woman, while in Turkish you don't have he and she, you have only o, which is neutral. Embedding in this way our stereotypes directly into code. We witnessed British students protesting with signs reading F your algorithm when a grading system systematically disadvantaged those from poor neighborhoods. These systems do not just reflect existing bias, they actively shape our world. They influence elections through targeted political advertising. They shape markets through recommendation engines and automated trading. They even mold our sense of self, who we are, and what we believe. And yet, we keep humanize these systems, attributing wisdom and intelligence to what are essentially complex chains of mathematical calculations with no conscience, no understanding, no moral compass. So we are mistaking a sophisticated mimic for a genuine mind. The linguist Wilhelm von Humboldt, some centuries ago, defined the core human genius as the ability to make infinite use of finite means, created a limited world of ideas and explanations from finite sets of rules. The system we have built today, the systems we have built today are the polar opposite of this elegance. As Noam Chomsky again articulated 2 years ago in the New York Times, the human mind is not like ChatGPT and its ilk, a lumbering statistical engine for pattern matching, gorging off hundreds of terabytes of data and extrapolating the most likely conversational response. Rather, the human mind is a surprisingly efficient and even elegant system that operates with small amounts of information. It seeks not infer brute correlations among data points, but to create explanations. Today, we are celebrating the lumbering machine while forgetting the elegant mind. This misdirection is what Chomsky calls a form of stupidity, a stupidity that blinds us to the system's lack of true understanding, conscience, or moral compass. So, what begins as a cognitive illusion ends as a geopolitical reality. Most of the world's, the ability to command data, to design, train, deploy intelligent systems has become the ultimate strategic asset. Most of the world's frontier compute is concentrated in few firms, largely in the United States, commanding the decisive share of global capacity and creating a new digital divide. Intelligence that once resided in human minds and institutions now resides in the cloud. Power is mitigating from governments to platforms. As algorithms cross borders effortlessly, I must say, our systems of regulation remain trapped within its borders. Policy struggles to keep up. Lawmakers write rules for systems that learn faster than they can legislate. This brings us to what thinkers like Yanis Varoufakis call techno-feudalism, where industrial capitalists needed factories. Today, digital lords have supercomputers. Where wealth once came from labor, now it flows from human experience itself. Code becomes the new means of production, data the new capital. Control the digital kingdom, and you control the world. So, dear friends, today we face fundamental choices. Will artificial intelligence serve humanity or shareholders? Is data property a right or a common resource? Can we govern what we create but don't fully understand? I am not sure that we have all the answers, but I believe there is a path forward. A new kind of power demands a new kind of politics. What we need is eventually a new constitutional approach with bottom-up participation. The persistence of today's democracy, and I explain what I mean. The persistence of today's democracy towards oligarchic structure is not an accident. They embrace models designed to accumulate wealth upward. But in systems where people genuinely govern themselves, collaborative redistribution becomes natural. We must rethink our structures and create open, bottom-up, and collaborative systems and societies. Open source collaborative infrastructures that serve society, not black boxes that serve the capital. The prisoner who left Plato's cave had a choice: to enjoy the sunlight or to return to help others see it. Dear friends, I think we are the prisoner. We have seen both the promises and the peril of technology. Artificial intelligence is not our destiny, it is our mirror. It reflects our value, our biases, our choices. The algorithms we have today challenge us to be better, to build systems that enhance human wisdom rather than replace it. Our task is clear: to meet the a priori challenge by encoding our highest values into our systems, and to solve the a posteriori challenge by demanding transparency and accountability. To ensure that as we journey from Plato's cave to the age of algorithms, we should bring all of humanity with us into the light. Thank you very much.
There is one there.
Hello. Kalimera, kalispera. Carlos Irtat. So basically, I wanted to throw the ball back at you with regards to you being from Greece and Varoufakis being the one to coin the term. So I think it's, I think you are the one who is probably the most called for to discuss this topic from where it comes from, both the Plato's cave and the term techno-feudalism. So thank you.
Thank you. So to be honest, I study economics, also economics, and my question was always, what kind of societies do we want to live in? Do we want to live in societies that they are exclusive or societies that they are inclusive? We tend to separate economy from society, but economy is something that people do. So it's a social thing. It's us. Whatever we do, it's us. So the question is, what do we want to build as systems? What kind of systems do we want to live in? I am looking at the internet many years now and what happens with artificial intelligence. And I am amazed sometimes how many hallucinations and how many problems the systems bring. And I always think, of course, it's human-baked. So it's us. And of course, it's us that we don't take the right decisions. It's us that all the time we commodify people. We consider others better than others. We consider that I say the Western, as I live it in Greece and in Switzerland. In Switzerland less, because we cannot separate people, but in Greece sometimes people have this idea, oh, we are better than, I don't think, Eastern Europeans, Africans, Asians, or whatever. So I think this is something that we've learned, not because we were born like that, but it's the economy who coined an idea to be perfect, to be the best, to be better than the other, and forget the thing that we are all humans, and we have to live in societies that give us not only opportunity, but security, and not create systems that they are going to control us and be above us, but create systems that bring this equality. So my question for the I system is, how can we bake ethics in the code before we deploy the code? And what happens if we deploy codes that they are not ethical? Can we, because the code, you cannot bring the code into accountability, but are we able to bring the companies that deployed this code into accountability? This is not an easy answer to give, but it's something I think we can go in the next years. And as Varoufakis, I'm not a fan of Varoufakis personally, it's not this question, but I think this techno-feudalism is a good idea, a valuable idea, because capitalism came out of feudalism, and so we are running into this technological capitalism, if we want, that some people are going to control everything. So we maybe have to avoid this. Thank you.